Welcome to the Friday Power Lunch, a weekly show amplifying the voices of the Virginia grassroots. Each week, we provide engaging conversations about politics, culture, and women making change. Produced by the unstoppable women of Network Nova, our motto is, when we vote, we win. The Friday Power Lunch is recorded before a live Zoom audience. Follow us on social media. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and show us some love and become a sponsor through Patreon. The Friday Power Lunch. Badass women getting things done.
I'm Catherine White, your host of the weekly Friday Power Lunch. This is the show bringing you the guests, the issues, and the actions all in one big room. And we love to amplify the voice of the grassroots to get things done. And you know us, we like to make it fun. So let's get to it because we have a lot to unpack today. It is June 17th and welcome to the Friday Power Lunch and Scooby-Dooby-Doo. That's what I'm going to say today. So today's theme is the power of diversity. And really we unlock that with inclusion. So we have some great guests today. I would love to bring them up each to say hello, and then we will get to each of their segments later. First up, WES GOBAR, Communications and Outreach Director of the Black Oak Collective. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to talk to you all. You mentioned how hot it is, and we're going to talk a lot about climate, environmental justice. So thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's really on the news. All of a sudden, so much is going on, right? And then you see that Yellowstone Park, and we all sit back shocked, but we know this is going on, right? So I'm so glad you're here to talk about what you're doing. And so thank you for coming on. And next up, we have Jonathan DROMGOOLE. Hello, President of the Democrats Latino Organization of Virginia, as you say it, DLOV.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Catherine, for having me on here. Really excited to be here, talk a little bit more about the power of diversity and the Latino vote in Virginia.
Yeah, there's a lot to say. I think that, we've been talking a lot about this, and I want to say thank you. You are going to be at the Women's Summit at all 3 locations, and we really want to make sure that we're working together, including, and that power of diversity really makes a difference in our work. Right?
Yeah, excited to be there.
Yeah, got it. Thank you. All right. And really, really happy and excited to meet someone pretty darn special, Mayor Michelle Davis Younger of Manassas, founder of My Mayor Looks Like Me.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Oh my gosh, what an honor to be with you today. Thank you so much for the invitation. Looking forward to talking about the program and sharing the excitement around it.
Truly, I was going to say that we were going to talk for 10 minutes the other day. I know you're busy, and we ended up talking for almost 40. You are amazing, and I can't wait to to talk about what you're doing and how this program makes such an impact on the young women and boys in your area. So thank you, Mayor, for being here.
Thank you.
All right, I'm so exciting. I want to say that we want to make sure that today, everybody has a great experience in the room. We love to use the chat. Make sure you introduce yourself in the chat. Where are you from? Got your in Virginia Beach, what area you're coming in from. That's always fun. Maybe what you're working on. And just if, we always like to say, keep it real, but also be respectful, or else Stare will just bounce you out because she's the big boss up there. And also I want to say, remember to stick around for the after chat. We really had some great conversation last week, and that's where it all happens, I'll have to say, because everybody can share, and it's always great. And I want to say a big thank you to Beth Daisy from Virginia Beach. She's the newest patron. And I want to say that we're on the Friday Power Lunch. We always like to have great supporters. It helps us do our work. So why not throw us a couple bucks for the price of a cup of coffee? You can back us badass women getting things done. So we always appreciate that. So great. So we hope you're settled in. And I love to bring up the show messenger, Fennell Norton. What's happening, Fennell?
Hello there.
I just want to remind people, where's Fennell? We can spotlight her.
There I am.
Let me just do a quick reminder. I'm so excited. People are excited. They put their hands up, but we save the hands up for the after chat. But if you want to put something in the chat, to talk about, please do, and then we can get to that later, or else you just pop up on the screen. So speaking of popping up on the screen, what's popping up in your head today?
So I have to tell you, I am fascinated about the hearings, and I was especially fascinated yesterday. The clarity of the message that they are delivering around what happened is blowing my mind. My eyes and ears are just, my mind is blown.
Yes. So this is the January 6th committee hearings yesterday, very riveting. And I was going to say my front page, this is the best. Trump knew plan was illegal. And I'm like, shocker. Like,
yeah.
Shocker, right?
Yeah, and Catherine, and this is the other thing that I'm so fascinated about. So I think in a nutshell, like 10 seconds. So he knew it was illegal. There was no fraud. He told him anyway. He made hundreds of millions of dollars off of it. Then he still knew it was a lie. And then he told Pence to tell a lie. He wouldn't do it. And so he was like, oh, hey, Mike Pence. And his supporters are like, still like, we want to be Republican. We want MAGA. That is mind blowing to me.
Yeah. Well, you should do that commercial. I think in 30 seconds, you do that commercial and we'll put it out there. Well, this to Wes over there, Wes is going to be talking about climate change. Also on the front page, summer extremes rolling in early, and I have to say so much is going on that's easy to get distracted every day with the hearings, with also, the prices going up, some real families struggling with housing prices and climate and food shortages, and we're in a war, and we sometimes forget, and we get, and we're still trying to work on the gun violence prevention bills. And you saw Cornyn just walk out. He's like, I'm done talking. So I don't know where that's going to go. What's your thoughts on that?
So I don't know where it's going to go either, but here's what I think. I think it would be fantastic if they got something done. I think that would feel good for us just as Americans. But I also feel if the Republicans walk away from the table, then the Democrats should stand up even louder than ever. And hopefully there will be other people who stand in the middle who will come along too. So I think it's a win-win for Democrats and not so much for Republicans.
Yeah, I think they're showboating, and we know that. So I also want to say that I want to ask each guest when they come up what they're going to be doing for Juneteenth. I know you have, it seems like we have two things I want to announce. A great amount of great celebrations going on for Juneteenth. Secondly, tomorrow is the Poor People's Campaign, the Moral Revival. If you don't know about it, get into DC tomorrow, 9 a.m. Reverend Barber will be there. They were on the show a couple of weeks ago. I think this is just an amazing time to stand up for workers, living wages. And this is, he has been doing this every year, and it is a great, moral revival. So please join tomorrow. I just want to say that. But let's talk about your weekend. What are you doing for Juneteenth?
So I actually have a lot planned for Juneteenth. But believe it or not, this time last year during Juneteenth, I was campaigning. So I was in the parade campaigning, saying, I'm from here. But this year I will be at a table, at a booth with the Democrats, and we will have a bunch of Juneteenth stuff to talk about, ask questions. People can win prizes. We'll have games. And so we really want to make it a celebration, but we also want to make it an educational opportunity. So I'm thrilled about Juneteenth for tomorrow.
Good. Oh, I'm so happy. I want to say before we get to Wes, hello to Georgia Fuller. Georgia just came in the room. And when you just have that friend you always think about, I haven't seen Georgia in a while. And I want to say, Georgia, good to see you. Hi over there. We've missed you. I can't wait. If you're in the after chat, we can talk. So that's always great to see Georgia. All right. So let's get into this big discussion. And I'm so excited to get WES GOBAR, who's the Communications and Outreach Director of the Black Oak Collective. So welcome, Wes. This is the first time on the Power Lunch. Mm-hmm. I love it. And you have a diverse background. Tell us a little bit first about yourself, and then how you got to be part of this Black Oak Collective.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yes.
I am also a co-founder of this organization called Evergreen Action. And I left my job as of last week because I'm going to grad school soon. But Evergreen has been very much on the forefront of this reconciliation fight with the $555 billion in climate investments. It has been a tough year. We've been butting heads with Manchin and going back and forth with his office this whole time, trying to get something that will help Biden meet his climate commitments, decarbonize the power sector by 2030, environmental justice investments for communities of color, frontline communities on the front lines of climate change. So I've been with him for the last 2 years, and my previous role was sort of just managing our relationships across the climate movement. And a relationship and community building is also a lot of what we're doing with the Black Oak Collective. We are a Black environmental networking organization based in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. We bring together all Black people who are fighting for climate, studying, working, advocating for climate issues across a wide variety of fields.
Right.
You know, whether you're on the advocacy front, whether you're in policy, clean energy business, science of it, et cetera. And we think it's important for us to be able to be connecting across sectors and creating pathways and building pipelines for other people to be able to get into this work and be successful in it.
Yeah.
So we co-founded that, and also in about a year and a half ago.
That's awesome. So tell me what the need for this along your journey here. I know that you're an activist and an advocate and a change maker yourself. Are you originally from Charlottesville, or just were you born and raised Virginia?
I was actually born in Korea because my dad was in the military. But I lived most of my life in Virginia. I'm from Fredericksburg. Went to the University of Virginia and was a student activist there.
Right.
And got a lot of stuff going on at UVA, especially like around August 7th and 12th. And I was also a body man for Mark Herring in 2018 and 2019. So. Yeah,
why I'm asking is just in the general, like when you saw this need for really, when we talk about making sure that you're empowering Black professionals, activists to get into this environmental work. Talk about that. Like, why did you see this need? Why is it so important to have that diversity, but yet have a collective where you're really building power together?
Yeah, well, look, going back to it being 90 degrees today in Arlington,
yes.
If you were in a Black community, it's on average 5 degrees hotter. Why is that? Because communities don't have tree cover. They have more concrete, highways running through them, and it all goes back to redlining. And so, for me, part of it, as I was learning more, I am new to the climate spaces of like the last 3 years. As I was doing more policy research and learning, talking to folks, it just became clear that if you live in a Black community, you have higher energy bills, right, because of the racist housing market. If you again, it's 5 degrees higher. A lot of the Black communities are food deserts, right? And then they're also the front lines of fossil fuel infrastructure. We saw the pipelines they tried to put through Virginia. They were going to put a compressor station in former emancipated slave community in Buckingham County, right? And so as I was sort of traveling the state as well with my previous role with Mark Herring, we just saw a lot of the passion and activism around that, and it's particularly the racial impact of it. And I think seeing that in combination with the way that the climate solutions and the Green New Deal are all things that sort of marry racial justice and economic justice with environmental and climate justice, and that it's really, we are either going to have people that look like me and Fennell and younger have a piece of ownership and a stake in the clean energy economy and in community solar and clean energy businesses, like or we're either not going to really be able to stave off the worst of climate chaos, or we'll have it owned by a lot of the fossil fuel companies and the same wealthy white people that have gotten us in this situation in the first place. So I know that particularly there is a gap in Black people being able to make it into these fields in the first place. Right. It's a lot of it has to do with networking in the first place, unpaid internships and opportunities to be able to meet folks and sort of get that in. And so a lot of what we're doing is sort of filling the gap there, and helping people to understand, to bring the opportunities to them through our job board, through a lot of our student outreach programs.
Right.
And just networking.
So I think that's what we're getting at. I'd like to hear more of that. So when you say, talk about the Black Oak Collective, how you do this outreach, and maybe you do events, or how do you bring people together? How do you do that? Yeah.
I think one of the toughest things is we started during the pandemic in the middle of it, and we were like, by April, by May, we'll be able to have our first in-person event. So we have had a lot of Zoom panels, specifically like in partnership with, for example, the Virginia Conservation Network was our first organizational partner to student outreach, and a lot of them have been through Zoom or through going to other universities or HBCUs like career panels. And some of these panels are specifically with our partners to say, like, here's an inside look at this fellowship, and here's how you kind of apply, who you can talk to. Others have been sort of career specific panels. So like we had one with Virginia, a lot of Virginia advocates. We had one with climate storytellers talking about their career path. How do they get into doing media and climate? We have our job board as well, which is sort of collecting a lot of these and displaying the opportunities for folks and sharing it through our listserv. And then I think the community building events, having opportunities for people to now in person connect with folks who are in the fields that they want to connect with, or they want to grow in, or to find mentors in those fields. And also just to be in joy and community with each other, because it's Juneteenth. One of the most important things is both freedom and sort of Black joy, and like we're all doing this work. A lot of us are stressed. Having opportunities to unwind and be in community with each other are really important. So we're still growing. We have a lot more HBCU and university outreach we want to do in person and virtually. We are building out more formal mentorship programs, but mostly just through that online and Zoom outreach, our job board, and then through sort of networking events.
Are you on campuses? Are you basically, doing anything on the campuses or in the communities directly?
Not yet.
Not yet. You're sort of building that up.
Yeah, but we have again done at least one or two visits in person, but it's just been tough because of COVID.
Well, yeah, a lot of folks in this room, and Melissa Hartman is here from RAISAR, and they do a lot on environmental justice, and there's been a lot of, we've had plenty of some shows, some segments about even around Virginia where we see landfills in historically Black communities. There is different projects, like you said, the pipeline, and this is historic, right? Where we see, even it was down in Louisiana where they found this, where they had a Black community built on all this poison ground from the oil and gas industry. So this is obviously a huge problem, and it is making people aware of this, especially the Black community. And I love the idea how you're getting the professional level to be involved in that. And I'm guessing maybe some advocacy in part of this. Is there any around that with the Black Oak Collective as well?
I think that the best way to think about Black Oak is a hub for people to support people to do this work, right? So we are not necessarily doing direct advocacy, but we're building skills and also just being able to repair people, because it is hard to also do this work, even when you're in it.
Right.
And we are building up, our next generation of advocates. So
That's
no
awesome.
direct advocacy at the moment.
Well, tell me what Black Oak means.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the Scarlet Oak is I actually have it on my website somewhere. I need to pull it up. The Scarlet Oak.
Go ahead. Yeah, it was interesting when we talked before. Yeah. It
is the national tree of DC. And so I think the Black Oak was like Kardec, and we also have our logo. You see two hands sort of reaching down, as sort of like the importance of having roots and staying grounded, and then also like reaching as we climb. So that's the Black Oak in a nutshell.
Reaching as we climb. I know we've talked a lot about that with the mayor. So I want to say lastly, when we're wrapping up here, what will you be doing for Juneteenth? Why don't you share it with everybody, your weekend?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, first of all, this is not necessarily this weekend, but next week, Black Oak will be having a Juneteenth cookout in DC. So if you're any Black enviros, or just people who might be Black folks who might be interested on the call with Black Oak in DC, or on social media, we're promoting the event. It's on our website. So we will be having a cookout on Thursday at 6 p.m. The next
I want to share the link. You can put it later in the chat if you don't have it right available, but definitely. And what else do you got going on?
Right. Tomorrow, well, I guess I will be going to the Poor People's Campaign on Saturday, and then on Sunday there is a community event held by Harriet's Wildest Dreams in DC. It's Chocolate City Juneteenth celebration, and so there'd be live music and it basically, you know, will be a street festival. So it's a really deeply rooted community event, and excited to go to that as well.
Nice. Well, super. Well, Wes, we're so happy you're able to come. I know you're busy going into grad school. Are you looking forward to that?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's good to go to school again. I think the important thing motivating for me is building my policy expertise, because there's a big need for environmental justice policy in Virginia. And we have a lot of folks who have been writing the policy for a very long time. And the communities don't have the same resources and ability to navigate that.
And it's complicated.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when we look at these energy bills, sometimes it is really complicated. There's the Reggie bill, and I know Clean Energy does a lot of this stuff with the bills. It's not like you really need to know what you're talking about with some of these climate bills. So good for you going back to school. And thank you so much for being here. I look forward to seeing you again, and definitely working with you. And I think climate is really, it's something we have to put back on our radar, because it never goes away. We may forget, and then some horrible tragedy comes up, right? And it was awful to see that Yellowstone, that water, and that what happened. And you're like, and then the dams, the water in Colorado, we're in serious trouble, you know? So, and we obviously need to address that. So thank you for the work you do. And we appreciate you coming in.
No problem. Thank you for hosting the space.
Yeah. Stick around. We hope you can stick around. You won't want to miss our next couple guests. And I know you know the next guest coming up, but I'm going to hand it over to the awesome, fabulous Fennell Norton. So take it away, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was a great discussion. Love to hear that. Jonathan, bringing up Jonathan so we can chat a little bit.
Is he up? There he is.
There we go. Hi, Jonathan.
Everyone.
How are you? I'm so excited.
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited about this conversation. It is perfect. So we're talking about diversity, and we're talking about a community that you are going to talk about in terms of what the strategy ought to be, because we're all concerned about how do we get voters engaged. And this is the conversation that's all over the place. So why don't you just dig in? Tell us what we are not getting right about the Latino community.
Of course. No, first of all, thank you all for having me. My name is Jonathan DROMGOOLE. I'm the president of the Democratic Latino Organization of Virginia, which is the official Latino caucus of your Democratic Party here. It's really exciting that now Latinos have reached a double-digit number here in Virginia in the most recent census. We're at 11% of the population. And I think we're starting to turn into this new tagline of, you can no longer win an election without the Latino vote, but you can surely lose one if you forget to engage us early, often. And, if you're just calling up for Latinos to vote for you 2 weeks before the election. So excited to talk about all the ins and outs that go into that, hiring a Latino staffer early on in a campaign, ensuring that you're having Latino outreach, from the start, not 2 weeks before the election, and bilingual information at the end of the day. And then realizing, right, that Latinos want to talk about more than just immigration issues, that really all issues that face Virginians and Americans are Latino issues at the end of the day.
So Jonathan, let's talk about early. So we're talking about getting out early, not just 2 weeks before the election. What does that look like?
That looks like starting to hire a Latino staff member, right? That looks like reaching out to DLOV and having these conversations often about what sort of strategies were to be. But even before that, even before you're thinking about running for office, it's showing up for the community. We historically come from countries where politics is not a good thing to talk about. Politics isn't something we necessarily want to get involved in. Being a Latino, being from Guadalajara, Mexico originally, and then growing up in Austin, Texas, then telling my parents, hey, I want to go into politics and public service, the immediate hesitation and red flags of, what are you doing? This is automatically thought of as corrupt. But then saying, no, we want to be there for our communities who have come to this country to call it home, and be there often to talk about issues such as healthcare, housing, education, and make sure they see us there for the longevity of their time here and where they set at home, not just, again, right before we need their vote to have a successful campaign.
Okay, and you know what else? I'm glad that you mentioned where you're from and your parents and what they thought about it. which just brings me right back to diversity. We always think about one group of people and we think it's a monolith, that everybody's the same. Can we talk about that a little bit, how that affects the way that you want to communicate and talk and the issues that are most important?
Yeah, and I think we could talk about that for days. It's a conversation that we have often, where it's looking at Latinos here in Virginia, and often, being from Mexico, people think, oh, Latinos are all Mexicans. And growing up in Austin and in Texas, we are the predominant demographic, right? But when I moved to Virginia, specifically when I came to DC to go to college and then ended up calling Virginia home, I realized, hey, there's not a lot of Mexican restaurants, which means there's not a lot of Mexicans here. And I started discovering the diversity of the Latino community right here in Virginia. My husband's actually Venezuelan, and I was introduced to the powerful Venezuelan community that exists in Northern Virginia and how influential they are in politics and democratic politics here. But you have Salvadorian, Hondureños, you have everyone really. And it's talking to us about all issues. Again, it's not just immigration. A lot of us care about small business development and how we're going to be able to accomplish that for longevity and prosperity of our families. Education is super important. Make sure we have equitable and accessible education. And also a lot of it need to be bilingual when we first come to this country. And it just goes on and on and on about the diversity of this community and how important it is to talk to us about issues that would affect everyday Virginians.
I'm glad that you said that. And I'm glad that you mentioned immigration, because I think that we probably get a lot of things wrong about immigration. What are we getting wrong about our conversations about immigration?
Yeah, so it comes from thinking of where the majority of those immigrants are, right? Where they're coming from. Again, a lot of the conversations that our elected officials are having around immigration come from Mexican immigrants. That was a wave, I think, that existed when I came to this country, but also earlier on. But now we're looking at immigration, not just for political reasons, but also, a great segue for climate reasons as well across the continent, and people coming here for a multitude of reasons. So it's looking at the diversity of why those folks are coming into the United States and the resources that they need. Now being very close to the Venezuelan community, it's looking at that and those resources and the need to make sure there are protections and statuses to ensure that they're able to contribute to this country in the ways that they want.
So here's a question I'd like for you to tackle for me, and it's around messaging. And as part of the Democratic Party, everybody is complaining about messaging. I have my own thoughts. But at the end of the day, when you talk about the diversity of communities, what should we be thinking about as we are trying to make sure, starting early, that we are letting the Latino communities know that we hear them?
Yeah, it's showing up to different venues where Latinos tend to be, whether that's a local restaurant that is frequented by our community, that could also be a church, and recognizing that just in that space, you're going to have a diversity of ideologies between the Latino community. I'm here representing the Democratic Party, but obviously there are Latinos who identify more closely with the Republican Party. And so it's being able to approach them first from this space of let's find these commonalities among the Latino community. And I think that has been also one of the biggest struggles of the Democratic Latino Organization of Virginia, but really of all organizations that work on Latino voter engagement, is trying to meet them where they are and then trying to have these conversations about where we collectively need to go. And we saw that work out very well during the Terry McAuliffe campaign for governor. And we've just seen those numbers increase. Latinos went up voting for Democrats by 5 percentage votes, going from 61 for Joe Biden and 66 for Terry McAuliffe. And that was a huge win to be on the ground early and often to talk about, hey, do you want to talk about immigration? Do you want to talk about the COVID-19 pandemic? And then by the time we got to the elections, we said, hey, let's talk about this candidate for governor and why he's the best choice for you. And so we saw those results work out, but it was the long game process for the community of ensuring we were there as often as we could.
Well, let's hope that work sticks. And another question that I have is, we have this big conversation ongoing about socialism and how we address that with our Latino communities. Help us get it right. What are we doing wrong?
Yeah, so it's, we love to use the word progressive, and that doesn't always resonate well with the Latino community. So you have to begin to have these conversations at the ground level and realizing that, again, the Latino community is no different than the AAP community, that the Black community, that we all care about the same issues. And so while the concerns of communism begin to come up, let's talk about those areas where we have commonality and be able to diverse and go in different paths outside of that conversation. Because I think that's where sometimes we get stuck and saying, we want to be very progressive and we want to show you how well the Democratic Party can be for the Latino community. And that may also be a put off. So it's having those conversations and being able to listen to the Latino community at the start and realizing, okay, there might be a way to get there and to talk about these progressive policy platforms that we all have. But it takes a little different language and a little bit more work for the Latino community.
Well, we're going to keep working. So here's another question that I had. So in terms of DLOV, and you talked a little bit about the statistics during the Biden and McAuliffe campaigns. What else are you most proud of in terms of the work that you guys have done?
Just the diversity that we have brought into the DLOV board. For a long time, people saw DLOV as this one kind of cookie cutter version of the Latino community, which plays into that narrative. But just bringing in more diverse, younger individuals who want to contribute to the organization. It's something that we're seeing is this shift of young Latinos who want to be involved in politics and policy. We're already starting to see that for the next House of Delegate races, there's a tremendous amount of Latino candidates that we're starting to see a record-breaking number. And so we're excited for the possibility that we might reach, 11 members in the House of Delegates, which would equal our 11% of the population here in Virginia. And what we saw with the most recent House of Delegate races is that a lot of those seats, those 7 seats that we lost as Democrats, were often by less than 11%. Most of them were less than 5%. And so when you realize that the Latino community has reached this double-digit number, we're so important to ensure that we not only keep the seats that we have, but to make sure we increase them in the next election.
That's awesome. And so I hear you. Our call to action right now is the very first thing is to make sure that there are Latinos hired in positions that are really going to make a difference. So we get that done. Make sure that we're in the spaces that we ought to be in our communities. Is there anything innovative that you're really excited about that's coming up now?
Yeah, so I think in addition to being part of the Women's Summit, we're looking at Latinos as needing to be in all sorts of spaces. We have Juneteenth coming up and the Latino community is involved in that as well. We have Afro-Latinos as well. We have Asian Latinos. And I think that's something that we're forgetting often, even within our silos, that we all try to continue to operate into this. And so something that we're very excited about is just the collaborations that we've had with the Democratic Black Caucus and and DLOV as well, the Asian Caucus, and just how we've been able in the past year to work on a lot of events together and show that these issues are relevant to all of our community, and then bring everyone and show, hey, we do belong in each other's spaces, and we need to continue doing that and moving forward in that direction.
I am so excited about it. I am so excited about this conversation, and I'm excited to see you at the summit. So I look forward to that. Yeah. Catherine, I'm going to hand it over
I was
to you.
just saying in the chat, to Jonathan's point is that Mary said that I'm half Cuban. The other half is Irish, and my brother-in-law is Costa Rican. The Latina heritage is vast. And like sometimes, I like what you said about the silos, what we think of ourselves as Black, Latino, Asian, but we are a diverse, mixed group of people, right?
Yeah,
100%.
And that's the hard part, right, Fennell, with the nuance of messaging. Not everything is going to be the same. Like when you message somebody, those are good points. So
and I think the last thing that I would just say is that's why it begins with your friends and your family, because you get the best information in terms of what works and what doesn't work and what resonates. So thank you, Jonathan.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Come see Jonathan will be at the Women's Summit and also tabling and throughout, even in August in rural Virginia. And down in Tidewater, he'll be joining us because we need our group. We're expanding, right? So thank you for now. That was really awesome. I know you were so super excited. She's like, I got to talk to Jonathan. So thank you, Jonathan. And so I'm excited. We will bring the mayor up in a few minutes, but we have some really exciting stuff we'd love to share with you about. Not only do we do this power lunch every week, but we decided to be, last 6 years, a bit crazy. And we do this Women's Summit every year. This is our 6th annual. I cannot believe that. That means I'm 6 years older. How does that happen? Anyways, but I'm very excited. As you see, it's in 3 locations. So when you go in to go look at our event at the website, don't think of this as just one-off. This ticket includes in-person events, And if you can't make that, you do not want to miss the programming. We already have lined up things about infusing your leadership. We have a great workshop on having better meetings. Who doesn't want to do that? And we also will talk about just those ways to expand our leadership qualities. So we will have online programming, and then this is our first stop at Rowan Tree. And then we'll also stay right here at Rowan Tree. And then we're going to also talk about the online community we will have. And when you get your ticket, you are going to get in that online community, and that's where all the great action's going to happen. Our first stop is at this lovely location, Rowan Tree in Herndon, Virginia. And we will be starting that with the Friday Fest, 6:30 kicking off. We're going to have wine and refreshments. We'll have great speakers all about education, and here they all are. So this is a really big thing going on, the attacks on public education. And we want to hear from teachers and board members, people impacted by this. And we'll also be greeted by the mayor and also Delegate Shin. So you won't want to miss Friday night. It's really a great time just to hang out together and socialize. Indoor and outdoor, we'll have some seating there. And next up to tell you about is that how special is this? Get the exhibit for the Artists for ERA that will be at both of our locations on Friday. So you could peruse the gallery. We have 10 fabulous prints that are awesome. And you could also purchase that. And you will have a special docent there to talk to you about that, Katie Hornig, who is from Equality, Virginia. And we're so grateful she's loaning us this collection. Then next up, let's see, what do we got? Oh, look at us. Aren't those three women just so cute? Anyways, so we've been working together for 6 years. I'm real proud of this team. And we're already at the advocacy fair exhibitors. And thank you to everybody in the room who's part of that. We have at least 20 tables, right? Stair, Robin, what do we got? What are we up to?
Yep, up to 20.
20 tables. Okay. What a great way to come in and go around and meet all the people doing this work. And next slide, what do we got, Robin? I know you're up there working in the tower. Oh, it's okay. All right. So what's great about then the big day on Saturday, we will have, I'm just laughing. Go back one. Where are we at? Okay, good. Okay, Virginia, Saturday. We will kick it off. Doors open at 8:30 for registration. You won't want to miss 9:30. Abigail Spanberger will be kicking things off. The Prince William Powerhouse Women. Here they all are. The first segment, we call this the first stage in the forum. And then we go off to the main stage in the theater with Chris Matthews and Heather May. We're going to have a huge, nice kickoff in there with speakers and songs, and it's just going to be this tapestry of issues. It's going to be a surprise and delight, so you will not want to miss that. I'm very excited that we'll have Heather Booth and all of these speakers, but this young poet just won this award, Sagar Gupta, and he's going to be his first time performing his award-winning Amanda Gorman poem at our summit. How exciting is that? So pretty cool stuff. And then what are we going to do? We're going to have some lunch. We're going to network, and then we're going to go to stage number 3, and Senator McClellan will be kicking that off with Jennifer Wexton, and of course, Jonathan DROMGOOLE will be there, and a bunch of other candidates running for office. And then we are going to have Tamara Addison will wrap that up with a live performance on stage to get us ready to go all in to win, because that's what it's going to take. We really have to go in all together to do this. And we are announcing this. We're going to have 2 actionary workshops. It's not on the website, but if you buy a ticket, this is what you'll get access to, which is Repro Rising and Planned Parenthood are going to do a actionary workshop, and For Public Education will also do one. So those will be awesome to go to, and it'll all be about standing up for education and standing up for reproductive rights, because we know that decision is going to come down. So they want to get us ready. All right, I know you're probably pretty psyched. I am. Go all in with us. We've been working pretty darn hard on this, and I can't believe it's only a week away. So if you'd like to volunteer, we have this wonderful opportunity at the summit to get a free headshot by Sam's, Headshots by Sam. He's going to be there, and you'll get the best beautiful picture of yourself, and you're going to be able to walk away with that too, which will be great. But if you want to volunteer with Sam, he needs a helper. How fun would that be? And I just want to shout out that we haven't really advertised that much, but you'll be able to get that headshot at the summit. And lastly, thank you to all of our sponsors. Top sponsor, All In for Democracy, from Clean to Virginia, and all the other sponsors in the room, from Razor to WOFA to Demcast to Rowan Tree. I'm not going to read them all, but thank you. All right, that's the wrap up. This is very excited because I so enjoyed meeting the mayor of Manassas. If we can bring her up, hopefully her reception is good. Hello, Mayor.
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can. I'm so sorry
Yay.
for that. You know how it is when you have kids and dogs and responsibilities, and you know what. So I just want to get to your segment, but I'm so sorry about that.
Okay.
So let's just get right with it. Let's talk about you. Let's talk about why you started this program, My Mayor, and I'm just questioning. When do we want to show that clip, Robin? Do we want?
For a moment, 10-year-old Langley Wright is mayor.
Look at that girl. Yes, indeed.
Her role model, someone who broke a lot of ceilings in Manassas. First Democrat, first woman, first Black person elected mayor, Michelle Davis Younger.
It is so important to see people like me in positions like this.
Davis Younger certainly didn't see that growing up.
My dad is 88, my mom is 83. They've been here all their lives. They were born here, seeing what they saw, what they came up with, the segregation, the hatred, just because of the color of your skin, having to go in separate entrances. That was right here in this city.
One of those entrances she can now see from her office window in City Hall.
Looking at that every day is a reminder, like, yep, this is why I do what I do.
Remembering the past as she paves the path to a different future.
I believe you're elevated to position not just to sit there, but you are to share and make sure others can come behind you. And it's lifting as you climb.
So she's lifting up young girls with her My Mayor Looks Like Me program.
Look at the portraits on the wall. See them? So what's the difference? What do you see?
How they're all male.
They're all male, right. And I want my girls up on that wall filling in the rest of that row, right? You think you'd be up there one day, Isabella?
Yeah.
You do? Yeah.
Mayor Michelle, as she likes to be called, lets these girls spend an hour in her shoes, where Samantha Fish can feel the power behind the podium. And Isabella Salazar can pick the mayor's brain.
Did you like it when they elect you to be the first woman to be
Did
a
I
mayor?
like it? Oh my gosh, yes.
I am so happy that she can see now that she can do whatever she wants. If she wants, she has to work hard, but she can do it.
The Salazars have worked hard to get to Manassas. They moved from Ecuador last year, which definitely didn't have programs like the mayor's.
I really liked it because it was a good idea to show that women can do a lot more than things that you think they can do.
Langley Wright is already doing more than you'd think a 10-year-old could.
Good boy.
She started her own dog walking business.
Been very, very busy.
Even in her school, she doesn't have a lot of Black women that she can see, right? So access to understanding what that person is doing, how they're making a difference locally, I think has inspired her to make a difference in our community too.
And I wanted people to see that this position is attainable. It is not, I'm not untouchable, like I'm real and you can do it too.
That's sentiment written in journals she gives each of her mentees.
She wrote, "Your dreams can come true, always believe in yourself and never give up. Mayor Michelle."
For the first time, their mayor looks like them.
Yeah. Okay, I'm done talking.
But it doesn't have to be the last.
Oh, I just love that. I just love it. So let's just start out. What inspired you to start this program?
Thank you, first of all, for having me on. It's such an honor and a privilege. I love talking about what's happened here in the city, and moreover, this program. I have insomnia sometimes, and so I was up late one night and just rolling across Facebook, I saw a little young lady with a shirt on that said, "My VP looks like me." And I thought, I wonder if I could do something like that in the city of Manassas, since I was the first woman, first person of color, and first Democrat to ever hold a seat I thought, why not try it? And I'm one of those that'll just come up with an idea, throw it out there, see if it sticks, and keep moving. So that's how it came about. And so I started it, and it's just taken off like gangbusters.
Yeah, that's what you were saying. When you saw that little girl got this idea, and maybe a few people would be interested. Now you have a waiting list.
I do have a waiting list. And it's so funny because I've added to the program. It first started off, let me just bring in a few girls, have them sit in my seat, and it's grown to, they sit in my seat on the dais, they bang the gavel, they get their pictures, they get the shirt. I now give them a gift bag that has a lot of stuff in it, which we'll probably talk about in a little bit, but just adding to it and making it bigger and better. And when I post pictures, parents will reach out, how can I get my daughter? How can I get my daughter? And that's how it's grown. I had no idea it would do that, but I'm thankful that it has caught on.
Well, to me, getting to know you and talking to you, it is about leadership and where you are, and what really, when you said you got to lift while you climb. Oh, I don't know if
as you climb.
Lift. Yeah, sorry, you're froze for just 1 second. Yes, yeah. And that's really that kind of spiritual push that you have to be inspired to not only just achieve the role you're in, being the first mayor, but thinking, now that I'm here, what can I do? And I think that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, I'm big on accountability. I don't believe, as I said, you're put into position to lift as you climb, but you also have to have people hold you accountable for what you say. I was elected, I think, because I wasn't that cookie cutter politician, the freedom who was real, and that, wow, her hair is like mine, or her skin looks like mine. And so I have to answer to that, at some point. And I love little people because they come with such great questions, and they, ask really off the wall things, and it makes you think, like, I really have to pay attention and listen to them. And a lot of them just want to be listened to and heard, and by somebody in this seat makes it even more special.
Yeah. And I mean, representation matters, right? And let's talk about that. Let's talk about what the program, how you build it out, and how you really been thoughtful about where you take them in every step of the way. Walk us through a day of that program.
Sure. So it's on a Saturday or Sunday. I always try to work around parents' schedules. I don't want it to be one more thing that they have to do. So whatever works for them, they come to City Hall, they meet me there. Beforehand, I set out chairs. I usually have about 10 girls, and their ages 10 to about 16. Some siblings come together, and that's okay. If one is younger, that's fine. I have them prepare ahead of time 2 questions because they're going to interview the mayor, and they need to be prepared. So they come, they sit down, they ask me questions. They get to sit in my seat in my actual office that I work out of, which is kind of powerful too. Once we get through the question part of it, we go back out to the front, as you saw in the clip. We go back out to the front lobby where all the portraits, well, not all of them, most of the portraits hang of several of the previous mayors. And I just simply put the question out, what do you see? And they all go, they're all male, and they're all old white men, that's what they say. And they ask, where's your picture? And I say, well, I think there's some kind of.
Yes, I know there's a little internet issue. She'll come back.
Unwritten rule after you, and yeah, it keeps going out. I'm sorry. And so my portrait's being worked on, and so I tell them it'll be there. But then I ask where they want it to go, and they say, right up at the top. And I go, well, I'm going to put it at the end of the row above. And they go, why that? And I say, because I want you all to fill in the rest of that row. And so and they're just like, wow, that's unbelievable. One little girl actually fell to the floor and said, I can't be on that wall. So I had to pull her to the side and have a conversation. Do you think I'm doing all of this so you can't be up there? You absolutely can and will. And if you want to be up there, you will be up there as well. We go into the secret room where we have our closed meetings after that. Then we go into the grand finale, I call it, into chambers, where they actually sit in my mayor's seat on the dais get their picture with me, one without me. The parents even sometimes sit in the seat because they've never been in a mayor's seat. And it's, you know, for the kids to see their parents realize something like that for the first time is amazing. And then we go back in. I have a gift bag that I've gone and purchased stuff for them ahead of time. And you know, the shirt is in the bag. Sometimes the girls take the shirts out. They want to put them on right when they get there, which is fine. But the bag, I just put little stuff.
And what's in the bag? You know, I love that you do a gift bag. That's so like awesome and empowering.
Yeah, I'll tell you. So I give them like little hand lotion. I always tell, you know, take care of your hands and your skin. Sanitizer because of COVID, hand wipes, things like that. I give each girl, I pray about each girl before I meet them. All I get is their first name and their shirt size so I can order the shirts. And I pray about, what does Tiffany need to hear? What does Megan need to hear from me? And I'll write like.
And I'm going to let her come back on.
Saw Langley, who you are, whatever I said, but it's a message. And so, yeah, am I back?
Yeah, you're back. And I just want to follow up that you write a special message. You follow.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. You have a special message for each girl. We saw that in the clip. And I think that is really super.
Yeah.
Could you imagine getting, I just thought about that special note, and that you sort of know what they need.
Yep, I do. And I just write a note to them. I give them my business card. I give them a pen just to use with that journal, make it really special. I give them, and we were talking about the wipes, the facial wipes. And I tell them, these are not everyday wipes. These are those wipes that you use for those no good, horrible, very bad days that you just want to forget. You take that wipe out from Mayor Michelle, you wipe your face, you clean yourself up, you throw it away. You are throwing away that day. You never let it affect your week, the rest of your month, or the rest of your year. It is gone. And then the most important thing, I think, is the mirror I give them. I tell them, you obviously have people in your life who care about you, or you wouldn't be in front of me today. Right. But sometimes adults get busy and they forget to tell you how special and loved you are. Well, now you have no reason, because you can hold up that mirror at the end of every day. I want you to promise me, if somebody else doesn't tell you that you're loved and special, you tell yourself that in that mirror every day. And remember, Mayor Michelle is right there with you. And they love that gift bag. It is empowering. I think the most wonderful thing I see is their eyes light up when they bang that gavel. They come in there and they're softly banging. I'm like, no. You own the room, ladies. You're the mayor. Everybody's here to listen to you. You gonna softly bang? No, I need you to bang. That's what you saw Langley in the video. She's banging away, you know, and it's great. And they get so excited. That's the spark. I am changing lives with that. Something so simple. It's an hour of my time. And they're so grateful. They email me now. I pass my SOL, keeping that contact going. They may not want to be mayor. They may want to work in city government. You don't have to be mayor, but get involved in local government. It has to start early at that age. I didn't have that inspiration. And now I feel like I'm giving back by doing that. So it is an amazing program. I love it.
You definitely are. And that you expanded into different professions, bringing in different speakers, you said.
Right.
Yeah.
Engineers, Black women engineers. I'm looking at bringing some doctors in.
Oh, and it went
national? If you don't want to do this, right. Yeah.
You're going national. So, other mayors are picking up this program.
Yes, they are. But it's started right here in the little old Manassas, 9 square mile Manassas. So I'm going to get the credit for that. But any mayor, any chair of any city, make it your own, do it how you want, but touch those lives at that early age and get them involved in government. You don't want to be 50 like me, learning how to do this stuff and how to sit on the dais and how to participate. Now they know terms like FOIA and COIA, and because I do a little bit of that teaching as well.
Oh, great.
You can't, we're good at faking it until we make it, but I don't want that for them. We can do better. When you know better, you do better. So I'm accountable for that. Nice.
And before you leave, I loved your story about your mom and dad.
Yes.
And they talked a little bit, just let's talk a look. We have just another minute or two. Let's talk about really you and your background and your family and what this all means to you, just this.
Wow. It's a good homegrown story in that, you know, I grew up in Manassas. My parents are 88 and my mom will be 84. My dad's 88, my mom will be 84 in August. They were born in Manassas and never left. Can you imagine? They've never had any address except Manassas. So they've seen the ugly, the segregation, the hatred, could not walk in the front door of many of the restaurants and stuff right here in this city. And now their daughter is the mayor. And I paused there because that is so chilling and it's so full circle for them. And they don't walk around with their chest out. They really don't. They're just so proud. And they never thought that it would be their child that would do it. And it, you know, I love telling that story because especially to the girls when they come, because they're like, what do you mean they couldn't walk in the front door? That's how it was.
Right.
And they stayed here and they persevered. Their siblings all left. We're going to DC. Manassas will never change. They'll never have anybody of color. And now their daughter is the mayor.
How about that?
It's so inspirational. And me growing up here, I said I'm related to half the people, or I went to school with the other half. So that's how I got elected. But it's homegrown. People are like, oh my God, I went to high school with her and now she's the mayor. So it's a lot of push for just that regular everyday person that's come along and has tried to make a difference in the community and show that diversity does work and representation does matter. And I'm not going to forget where I came from.
Yeah. You know, you are an inspiration to everybody
Thank you.
in this room. And I love this program and I hope it does take off. And I know there's a lot of people listening and I'm sure you're going to get some calls to maybe.
Yay.
Yeah. And we want to make sure that we do, if there's, I know you kind of fund this all from your own pocket. And if there's a way we can help, let us know in the chat or let us know how we can contribute.
Yeah, my website is Michelle4Manassas.com. Michelle4Manassas.com. Go there. You can hit donate button and be done with it.
There. Yeah, great.
That'd be great.
I just think it's super. Well, I know we're going to hear a lot more from you. I'm working at getting elected on the city council and now the mayor and just inspiring us with this new My Mayor Looks Like Me program and inspired us. And you're going to get the credit for at our Women's Summit. We're going to be having these special badass wipes to wipe off that, you know, that bad juju, what we sometimes get out. And then we're going to, I think that's just a great idea because it's so like, what do you call it? Really psychological, right?
Yep. Cleansing. It's cleansing. Yeah.
You just sort of, okay, I'm done. So thank you so much.
Thank you,
Michelle.
Thank you.
It's our pleasure. And we hope that maybe come to the summit or we're going to have all kind of activities. So we hope you can think about that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Nice to see you. All right. It's that time again. I can't believe it's 1 o'clock. It's not too bad. We sometimes go a couple minutes over. And I just want to make sure that everybody knows you will get that Friday recap, anybody that's in the room. And it is super great because you get all the links and all the calls to action are right there at your fingertips. So thank you to Stare and Robin who do all that hard work for that. And I know you love the show. If you want to support the show, go ahead and do that. We love you for doing it. Thank you very much. Become a patron and follow us on Twitter, social media, and stay for the after chat. And also, always a big thank you for this team in the room, Robin Warner, Show Wizard, Stare Calhoun up there, and hopefully her colored leotards. Did she get your fancy leotards or I know for the summit, I got mine in the mail. Did you get yours, Robin?
Yeah, I got my leggings.
I got my
I'm all set.
I can't go get them, but my leggings are they're over there. But yes, that's gonna be a great outfit. And then Fennell, Show Messenger, Heidi Dragneff, social media diva, and just the queen of TikTok, by the way. And thank you to Laura Martinez, who's always in the room helping. Michelle McKinney, always making people feel welcome. And thank you to also Julie Galdo, Sally Reynolds, for always making sure that you make sure we have good content. And next week, well, we're going to have a special show because it'll be the kickoff for the Women's Summit. We're going to have Delegate Don Scott here, new leader of the House of Delegates. Let's give him some good, hard questions. Dan Helmer will be here also. Let's meet these new leaders of our new Virginia House. I'm very excited. When we will have some special guests to kick off that Friday. I think that Congressman Conley and Beyer possibly will be here too, just to wish us luck. And also, I don't know, we reached out to some special guests, so we'll probably do.
It sounds like it's raining men there, Catherine.
It may be raining men, so we need to make sure we work on getting more women. Just saying. All right. You know, I love y'all. Everyday people. That is who's making things happen. And, you know, just like the mayor inspired us, Jonathan Drumgoole from the President Latino Dems, thank you, also inspired us. And also WES GOBAR, thank you very much for being here, making it happen. Thank you so much. Stay for the after chat. Let's roll credits if I'm not forgetting anything.